Welcome to Think Like a Businessaire number 3. And this is out of my book, Think Like a Businessaire. If you don't have it yet, get it on Amazon. It's a Christian's guide to starting and building a legacy business. In there, there's the worksheets and all the stuff and the reading and everything goes hand in hand with this video. So I encourage you to get your hands on it. And tonight is, I believe, one of the most important nights, because you can have the best product, but if nobody knows about it, what good is it? You could have the best service, but if nobody knows about it. This is about marketing. Your business will not grow without marketing. It's all about, but here's the thing, we have to realize that oftentimes we want to market like Nike, who I think has like a $3 billion budget. It doesn't work for us. We have to learn to market with a little bit of resources to get the most bang out of our buck. How do you do that? And certain marketing principles that we think work, when you put common sense to it, don't work at our level. So how do I market to the most people at the level that our business, most of our businesses are? Because obviously if you have a $3 billion marketing budget for this year, this video may not be for you. But if you're like my businesses, where when you first start out, you may have $100, $200 a month. Well, how do I do that? And so this is going to be an epic time. I encourage you to sit back, relax, grow with us, expand your thinking, and I know that God is going to richly bless you. Who's ready to grow their business? Come on, somebody out there. Anybody out there? This is, tonight's topic, I think, is the most important topic that we do. And it's so big that I won't get through it tonight, and mainly because I really enjoyed last week's questions and answers. It's my favorite part, and so I want to make sure that we get about 15 minutes to do that. So I'm going to go into 45 minutes, and then we'll continue on, pick up next week, because advertising and marketing is the key to business. Businesses, right? If I don't get people to use my product, then it doesn't matter. I've seen some of the, there's been some of the best products known to man come out, but because of marketing, they went nowhere. And you even think about, these are products from probably my era, but VHS makes it, even though Beta was far superior. Marketing. Laserdisc, of course, is even way better than VHS, right? But marketing, it didn't make it. The Chalupa is way better than the Big Mac. Come on, somebody out there, right? And it's doing all right. And so, but I want to start off with, and this is for those that are here, and I maybe do it at the end also. So if you're watching on video, this is not for you. But I will also put this in my teaching either this week or next week, and you'll see why. I want you to do me a huge favor, as we're putting this out there for free, is to give me a review on Amazon. So give me a review on Amazon, 5 stars. I don't want 4. I don't want to be real. No, don't be real. Give me 5 stars. Right? And here's what I'm going to do for you. So if you do a review, 5 stars, and you show it on Amazon, we'll give you a free Businessaire book. Now, you already have one, but you can give it to somebody. You can show it in somebody's life. For a minimal of 3 best reviews. So when I say best, like it's a great review. You took time. It's something you had to scroll through. And if you do an epic review for the top 3 of those, maybe more, but I'm going to do 3 of them, I'm going to give you a free $100 knife. And so one of my Ravencrest knives. And so, and if you're like, well, I don't have an Amazon book, order one. And then you get another one. You get 2 for 1 basically tonight. And that would be you'd be sowing into my life. And I'm going to tell you this, people that give into my life are richly blessed. And so I encourage you to do that for me. Do it tonight before you forget about it. And give me that review. That greatly will help the Businessaire book in a great way. So tonight we're talking about what I would say is, there's so many great aspects that we talk about in the weeks that we have and coming up of a great business. But just like a car, there's a lot of key components to a car. But without the engine, I don't know if any of the rest of it really matters. And to me, the marketing and the advertising is the engine of your business. Without it, I don't see how your business will possibly have any ability to succeed. Because I need people to buy my product, right, or use my service. Without people using my product or using my service, the business is just a hobby. We're not making any money. The more people that buy my product, use my service, the more successful my business will be. And so marketing is the engine that, number one, gets the product in people's hands, and number two, gets people talking about my business, and as I show you tonight, empowering every customer to be your key marketing for the business. So we have to know how to do this. Now, I'm going to use phrases. I don't know if I didn't go to Harvard, marketing school. I don't know. So you're going to hear, it's like Scotty's School of Hard Knocks. Can I say that? Like I ran the marketing department for Living Word Bible Church for 25 years. Made a lot of good decisions and a lot of bad decisions. So you're drawing from that and then also from the last 10 years of businesses. Every business, not every, let me say this. I was looking at it today. Most of the businesses that I had that did not make it, that failed, I would say with what I know today about marketing, I believe that most of those would become successful businesses because of what I have learned and what I'm going to teach you about the keys in marketing. Not Go Nods, if you guys remember that business was doomed to fail just based on the name. But most of my businesses, if I had known what I know today about marketing, what I'm going to teach you, I believe that they would have had great success. So we're going to talk about advertise and market, and what Scotty says is the difference between the two and how to empower those two things working in your life. Focus, especially for new businesses, and I'm going to say for most business, most everybody that's watching this, everyone who's doing this, you're not the business that goes, hey, we're going to spend $100,000 this year on marketing, right? You're not that group. That group is different, right? Nike last year spent $3.1 billion simply on marketing. How many people know that, Nike's not watching this show today and going, okay, we got to start doing that, right? This is for the average business, 95% of us businesses out there that are starting, or we want to kick things up. We've been around a while, and we want to grow our business. That's what this is about. And it's about focus. It's about focusing right? Because we don't have $3.1 billion to market. So how do I take what I have, sometimes it's just a little bit, most of the time it's just a little bit, and I don't want to just waste it, but I want to get the biggest bang for my buck. I want to focus it on things that work, not the things that society or people out there say that work. And as everything that I do in business is just thinking about it and adding common sense. And as I talk tonight, some of you that have business for a while go, oh my gosh, this is what I'm doing. I made that mistake. And you have to know, I've made that mistake. So I didn't keep it simple in the marketing arena. And oftentimes I listen to the buzz of this and this and this and the hype of what might work without really putting it in common sense to what actually works in advertising and what works in marketing a business. And I'm going to just kick it off here, and then I'll explain it later. Love, to me, is the key marketing factor. Love. The most powerful thing that God has given to us is the power of love, right? When I have love, love is patient, love is kind, love gives more than it receives. Unconditional love. Love is, as you'll see tonight and some next week, is the force behind my marketing strategy. That every customer that experiences my business feels, and they won't be able to put the word love on it, but they'll feel love. They'll feel like they got more from me than I got from them. And in that, I have empowered the most powerful force in the world of marketing. If you think about products that you started using, maybe a restaurant you started going to, how did you decide to go to that place? How did you decide to get that product? And from people that I've talked to, and I know in my own life when I contemplate, when I begin to really think, okay, how did I start using that product? Right? I'm like, well, it wasn't because of a silly mail out that I got, especially nowadays, because you get a mail out. I don't know about you, but I get thousands. I get so many mailers in my thing that I don't even look at any. I just throw them away as fast as they come in, right? It's not magazines. Like I've never bought anything from a magazine, because when I'm in a magazine, I'm just trying to get to the article, in the thing, the story, right? I'm not I've never bought, right? TV commercials, I don't know if I've ever bought anything from a TV commercial. Emails, right? I don't know how many emails you get in a day. I get over 100 stupid emails, and that's with me spamming, getting them all in the spam. And it's just, I don't know about you, but I'm just, get out of here, get out of here, get out of here. You don't read those, you just wait, right? These things don't work. There's so many things that small businesses buy into, and they put their money in things that simply do not work. What worked for you? What worked for me? How do I get my landscaper? My neighbor. He's like, hey, you want a good landscaper? I got a great landscaper, right? Netflix. How do I get Netflix? Netflix, it wasn't an ad. It was a number of people going, you got to try out this Netflix, right? It was word of mouth, right? People, right, are the ones, right? A restaurant. A restaurant, most of the time for me to start a restaurant, like my favorite restaurant right now is Gent. I love Gent, so I'm marketing them too. I absolutely love it at Tempe Marketplace. I go there once a week. It was because my son said it was epic. He took me there, and I'm like, I love this place, right? It wasn't a billboard ad. It was not, because I read by billboard ads. I've never gone, oh my God, I'm going to go to that place. That doesn't work on me. That doesn't work at all, right? What works on me is somebody saying, oh, you got to try this place, the best Mexican food I've ever had. You got to go try this place. It is the word of mouth. Jason, and I'm going to get one probably in the next week or two. Jason's good. Scott, he won't go off on his, right, Christian? He has pizza oven. I've got the best pizza oven in the world. It's incredible. I saw him yesterday. I was at his house. He goes, see that right there? 700 degrees in 20 minutes. Boom, done, pizza oven. He talks about his pizza oven, right? And to the point, I'm like, I'm going to get his pizza oven, right? And so it's word of mouth. How do we empower people to become, in a sense, our employees who are pushing our product, right? I do that through love. 90%, and I say 90% because we live in an era, I believe, the greatest era for starting a business that the world has ever known. We have the best opportunities. I said 90, word of mouth, because social media, I think, is epic nowadays for being able to market. And I know that because it gets me. Right? It gets me. I said pizza oven. I guarantee you, tomorrow I'll be swiping through Instagram, and pizza ovens are going to be showing up all over the place. Like it's incredible. I was at the mall. We walked by and we're like, oh, Victoria's Secrets. Next day, Victoria's Secrets. I'm like, my Lord. Holly's like, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know. We said it yesterday. It's just popping up in my phone now. They think I want Victoria's Secrets. Nothing I want is on there. Well, I want it for you, Holly, but I don't want. Right? You understand what I'm saying? And so. You can laser for very inexpensive on social media. I'll talk more about that. Your product to specific, right, gender, age, right, what they're interested in. Like you can go right down to political part. Like you can laser focus that on people for it's not like in the day 20 years ago when you just had to blindly throw up a TV commercial and hope somebody saw it. Right? And everybody just flipped the channels or went to the bathroom during the TV commercial. Now you can laser focus it. And so that to me is an epic way of advertising your stuff today. Most new businesses, what I have found, make the huge mistake of trying to get into the marketing world as if they are a big company that has a $100,000 budget. So they hire a marketing firm, right? And what happens with this, and they end up blowing and wasting a ton of money, right? And because marketing places, and they're not bad, they're going to take your money. But it doesn't work on under $100,000 level. That's my experience. Like it just doesn't work. So new businesses will focus on mailers, right, which they don't read. They'll throw some money at putting it in a magazine that you wouldn't buy anything out of. They'll throw money out of emails. That's a big one nowadays. Because you have to understand, as soon as you sign up for an LLC, the marketers know. They're going to begin to hit you up, right? Hey, buy my email list. Here's what we're going to do. And I did the same thing. We don't put the math to it and go, wait a second, I hate emails. Nowadays, there's so many of them. I've never bought anything off an email. I won't. I just get rid of it because I have so much. And so we waste money that could be better spent in different areas. They'll buy a radio ad, right? And let me tell you, I've bought one thing off of a radio in my lifetime, and it made me think that radio can work, right? But and what my experience, even with the church over the years and the radio ads we've done, and even talking to marketing people, firms, is that how radio works is you got to spend about $20,000 a month for about a year for it to work. You will see zero return for the first 6 months. You think about that. You'll hear an ad, and it's gone. Hear an ad. So what worked on me was zero res. Zero res on the commercial. It was zero res, zero res, zero res, zero res. And it was a couple years, and then I'm like, hey, we need a new carpet cleaner. Hey, let's do zero res. So it did work, but what happens is young companies will make the mistake, and they'll go, hey, it's like Karate Kid. Karate do, karate don't. If you do karate middle, you get squashed like grape, right? You remember that, right? You either got to do it or you don't. So a smaller company will go, all right, well, we can't do $20,000. What we'll do is let's throw $5,000 at it a month, and let's try it for 3 months. And, of course, you just wasted $15,000. This is exactly what you did. You just waste. When you could have taken $15,000 and you could have focused that money and had what I call a return. I want to use the little bit that we have for our businesses, and I want to focus it where I'm going to get the best chance of return. When I go fishing, I want to cast where I think I have the best chance of getting a fish, right? That's the same thing for marketing. I want to cast in where I have the best opportunity of catching a fish, not just because somebody said so, but because it makes common sense. All right, here we go. Advertising versus marketing, Scotty style. Scotty, and I'm like, I thought about it. I was like, I got to look it up. I'm like, I don't want to look it up. I got better things to do. So we're just going to call it what it is. Advertising to me, this is what I call the difference between advertising and marketing. Advertising to me is getting my product in people's hands. Marketing to me, because of what I believe is the power in marketing, is getting people to talk about my product. So I first have to get my product in people's hands, because nobody's going to talk about your product if they haven't used your product, haven't experienced your product. So advertise, I have to get the product in people's hands. But just because I got it in your hands isn't going to build my company. I have to then make sure that the experience when they have it is epic, amazing, unbelievable, right? So that I can empower every single customer that ever buys a Ravencrest tactical knife. They have been empowered with such a thing that they want to tell people about the amazing product they have. Now, I have empowered people to go tell 10 people. That's what they say. They say one person will tell 10. Right? So I have to empower the people. But first thing we have to do is we have to advertise. I have to get in people's hands. And I thought what a great way to do this was, and I wasn't this far along when I wrote the book. So now if you're watching the video, you get to kind of do it with us, because me and my sons are starting a pickleball company. And I think I talked a little bit about that last week. We have our pickleball rackets, and our balls will be coming next week. Our sample, at least, we'll be able to see that. And go through that, and I'll probably talk some more about the company so that you can kind of see us building a company as we go along in this video, and those that are here and watching. And so the first thing that we have to do, right, when I get my pickleball rackets, is I got to get it in people's hands. So what is our strategy? Starting a new company, and maybe you had a company, and you're like, okay, I got to get it in more hands. This is our strategy. That I have seen work. It worked with the knives. Is number one, of course, I said this last week, we got to get it on Amazon. I got to make sure that it's on Amazon. And then I'm going to have to pay a little bit to come up in the ads. In the same way, I also have to have a good web. We talked about that last week. And I have to be able to pay for the Google, get some money for Google searches, that pickleball rackets that I'm going to come up. And it's not going to be a ton of money. We'll throw maybe $100 a week on it. And what I want to do is I want people to be looking for a pickleball racket. I come up on Amazon, and they're not usually going to buy right away. And then they search pickleball rackets, and they go on Google, and they're like, oh, Nemesis. Oh, that's pretty cool, right? And then later they're looking again, and I come up on Amazon. They're like, oh, who's this Nemesis? That's kind of cool. What kind of racket is that, right? So I'm hoping to kind of keep awareness to it. I want them to see it in multiple places. So we'll spend some money. I think that's good money on that. And also on Instagram. So if you say pickleball racket, and now it's going to happen on my phone, tomorrow I'll be looking at pickleball rackets all day, that it shows up in people also. So they're going to see it on Instagram, they're going to see it on Google, they're going to see it on Amazon. We're kind of common. And what I said about today's world is it's epic. that I don't have to spend I don't have to spend $20,000. I can spend a reasonable budget that probably most of us in here room can set some money aside, and we should be able to, for $100, $150, be able to get some marketing flowing on Instagram on that. We're going to do videos. So oh my God. The fact that, 20 years ago, you had to pay a camera crew to come out, then you had to pay for it to be on television. The fact that this generation today really likes kind of a little bit more unproduced video. That's what they like. So it's something on a nice iPhone, right? You get your iPhone, and we're going to do some instructional videos to get it out where people brought to you by pickleball, Nemesis Pickleball. And so the videos will go out. We can throw it on YouTube for free. Just to put it out there when people begin, and then we can pay YouTube. People search, tips, strategies of serving in pickleball. And boom, here we come up, right? And so we're spending some money on that, getting some videos done. We can do that simple, do that easy. We're going to, once again, I got to get product in people's hands so that they can talk about it. So the lady that gave, I took lessons in a group for pickleball, and she puts on tournaments, right? And I know that she would be elated for me to say, hey, I know you don't give prizes out, but what if you gave out Nemesis rackets for the first, second, and third placers? I know she would be elated to be able to offer and give people a prize. So two things are happening. One, people are like, who's this Nemesis? They're sponsoring a tournament? That's pretty cool. Another one is I get it in somebody's hands, which is what I exactly want to do. They got it for free. You're just going to give rackets away? Yeah, that's marketing. So anytime I give something away, I look at it as marketing, that I am putting it in somebody's hands to hopefully empower them to begin to be the best marketers in the business. People playing with my rackets, if I've built my rackets correctly, are going to be people who are going to be like, hey, you got to check this thing out. This is a cool racket, right? And they're like, Nemesis, that's kind of cool. What is it, right? And so we're also going to, one of the things that I noticed with the lady that did my instruction, and I'm going to get more of them, is, when she gives lessons out, on the third lesson, all of a sudden she brings out 10 different little pickleball rackets. I know what she's doing. It's not because she just wants people to try rackets. She's trying to sell them because she makes money when she sells them. I'm sure that's what they do. But I'm going to take it up a level, and we're going to make zero profits when she sells them because I want all that money to be marketing money. So she's going to make more money selling my racket than she does any other racket, right? What is that doing? Which racket do you think she's going to push, right? She's like, you know what? That's a good racket. That one's $159, but this $79 one, this Nemesis, I think it's just as good, if not better, than the $150 one, right? Because, right, she probably, in a given month, she has probably 50 students, and if she makes $50 a racket, even if she sells 10 rackets a month, she's making an extra $500. So who's going to be pushing? So in the beginning stages of my business, my goal is to advertise. I got to get it in people's hands. You have to be creative about this. Every product is going to be different. This is simply my strategy for my pickleball. Me and my kids now are going down to like a little pickleball league that they play on Thursday nights, playing with them. We're probably going to go down and give everybody a racket, right? Right. And there's one guy, he's almost pro. I'd love it if I put it in his hands. I'm not saying he's going to use it, but maybe he will. I don't know, right? Love is giving. So I'm going to get my racket in people's hands, and as I give it away, you're like, well, you're not making any money, right? But you can't make money advertising. It's funny. People will spend $1,500 on mailers, but they're like, well, I can't just give my product away. My gosh, how many rackets I can give away for $1,500? Getting in people's hands that'll actually use it rather than a mailer that people just throw away. Common sense and looking at the goal is in advertising is simply to gain customers that use it. And oftentimes giving and sowing into people's life is going to be more of a harvest because remember the Bible says, give and it will be given unto you. Love is I give and then I reap a harvest in that. Be creative. One of the things that we had to do for our knife company is, and I did it for my toy company too, I learned, was doing trade shows. So I had to spend money to go to trade shows, go to gun shows for the knife company. It was great. It was epic. It's what really catapulted our business because just having a web company that wasn't going to do anything. So you go to a gun show, people walk around, that's a cool knife. We get them in their hands, give them a great experience. They begin to talk about it. And so we were able to build my toy company and my knife company both on going to trade shows. And that may be something that you want to do. And so once again, you got to look at it. Our first trade show, I think it was $250, maybe $500 to go to it. So it was like, woo. But we made money on the trade show and we sold knives. But most importantly, we put knives in people's hands. We put toys in people's hands. I was thinking to myself, like if I was, and I'll do this throughout this, if I was going to start a landscaping company, I thought to myself, well, how do I advertise that thing? I don't know if anybody, I've never picked up, like I said, I've never gotten a landscaper because I saw a flyer or a billboard or anything. It was word of mouth. My neighbor says, hey, my landscaper's epic, you should try him. And I'm like, oh, let's do that. Yeah, I'll give him a go. So I thought if I had a landscaping company, I would drive around neighborhoods that hire landscapers, if that makes sense to you. I would drive around and I'd find landscaping that looks like, you drive around, you go, that looks horrible. Knock on the door, go, hey, you know what? I'll give you 2 weeks free, and I'm going to guarantee you I'll rock this world. Your world. You can keep your other landscaper for 2 weeks, right? Right? I'll be free. And watch what I'll do to your lawn in just 2 weeks. You're like, well, you're going to give 2 weeks free? Oh, yeah, of course. Because I'm going to gain that one. I'm going to epically do their yard, and they're going to begin to tell their neighbors. And it may not happen in a month or 2 months, but the word will get out, and I'm gaining customers by simply looking around and seeing people who have below average service and saying, I bet on me. Bet on me. I'll do an epic, amazing job. And once again, it's marketing money. I give something away to get my product or my service in somebody's hands, and in that, I gain a customer. And that customer, and so once I get it in people's hands, let's go here. So I've advertised, at least what Scotty calls advertising. I got my product in people's hands, and it's not that I stopped getting product in people's hands, but the size of my knife company, we don't do trade shows anymore. Now we focus on marketing side, which getting people to talk about my product, because 90% of all things that we buy comes from word of mouth. And I want you to understand, and I would love it if you put it in front of yourself. It's up on we have a board that we have in our office, and this is one of the things that we have, is that people will talk about your business. You choose what they say. They're going to talk about your business. You choose what they're going to say about it. It's either the worst, it was a horrible experience, or, man, that company, that's amazing what they'll do. And so you have to keep it in front of you, because as I'll show you here in a minute, that oftentimes as our company grows, we forget about the value of every single customer. And you've seen that. You've been in a company when they were small, and man, things were awesome. And then they grew, and it was like they didn't care about you anymore. And so we have to decide what they say in our life. I put this in the book, and I'm going to put it out again today, and I'll talk about it here in a minute again. My pool company, the ones that service my pool, they were epic, right? I got them 7 years ago. The owner was starting out. He did all the pools himself. I loved him. I sent them business, right? It would come off, right? But he grew so fast that he has annoyed me so greatly that he has made my book. And he's even made my teaching today. I would never tell you who it is, because I'm not that type of person that I want to hurt. But I will tell you that when people ask me, hey, do you have a pool guy? I go, not a good one, right? I don't have a good one. He's missing opportunities because he lost empowering me, which is a pretty strong voice, right, in talking about how awesome his company is, because he has outgrown the customer service aspect of it. Customers, in my perspective, are no longer a priority. Now it's just a machine to make money. And how many people know, I don't want to be part of that machine, right? I don't want to be part of that. I want to be part of something that is a great experience for me. Love is the secret. Give more. You can write this. Always give more than you get. That's the best marketing in the world. It's the best marketing, right? We always talk about companies and services and people that give us more than they get. I want to empower you to talk about my company. Then I have to make sure that it's not a one-for-one trade. Right? That's the old days. You give me $1, I give you something worth $1. Right? Now you give me $1, I want to give you something worth $5, so that you tell your neighbor, like, I can't believe they even do this. This is incredible. I want to get you talking about my product. I got it in your hands. How do I do that? I give you always more than you have given me. It is when you start your thing out. That's why for our company, we started on a lifetime, no questions asked warranty. And I believe that that's the backbone behind why we're successful. And I got the idea, I had a buddy, he's a cop, and it's funny how God positions people in my world. And we were just sitting around, and he pulled his backpack out, and he just out of nowhere, he goes, "That's the greatest backpack I've ever owned. I think it's the greatest backpack in the world." And I go, "Oh, it just looks like a backpack." I go, "Cool." And he goes, "Yeah, $200. And I go, "Well, you're crazy. I would never spend $200 on a backpack." I said, "You know, you can get one at Target for like $18. He goes, "Not like this one." He goes, "This one right here is a backpack for life. I'll never, ever have to buy another backpack." He goes, "If anything goes wrong with it, I'll send it back." He goes, "I had one of my knives go through it. It was my fault. I sent it back. They sent me this one, brand new backpack. A zipper breaks, anything." Right? Now, what did that company do? They empowered him. He became a salesperson over a lunch, right? Like an employee out selling his backpack. And I went, "Oh my gosh." So, and this is funny, when you start out your company or maybe you have a partner. So I brought that back to the partners. I said, "Hey, we should do a knife for life. We should, no questions asked, for the rest of the life that they buy a knife, we will replace it." And of course, they're like, "Oh, you can't stop it." Well, no, you can't do that. Right? Oh my God, people will abuse it. They'll do that. I go, "But even when people abuse it, right, it's still marketing money. We have to look at it like marketing money." So they beat their knife, and we have those. They beat their knife up. They don't treat it right. And every couple of years, they send it in for a new knife. Right? And we send them a knife. I said, "But that's marketing money," because they're going to tell 10 people, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I get a free knife every couple of years," right? And there are people, most people won't do that, but there are the ones that abuse it. It doesn't matter. I've empowered that person that's abusing me to work for you. Work for me. I'm not getting ripped off. You're getting ripped off. I'm working you. You're not working me. So we've had, and it creates great social media stories. I have a knife that's in a little case there that a fireman, he dropped it in a fire, and they later found it. It's destroyed. It was melted, and you know how it has to be to melt like metal, like this thing. And we just sent him a knife, and he just talks about that like there's no. And we've had people abuse it. It looked like one guy, he dragged it behind his car for like 38 miles. There you go. Have a knife. It doesn't matter to me, right? Hey, I was jamming it in concrete, and it broke off the tip. Cool, here's a new knife. It doesn't matter to me. We'll send you a new knife. You abuse it, doesn't matter. And I don't do this always, because this is like I draw my line, but I'll do that. I'll be fair. My staff will contact me. They go, "Hey, somebody said that, they lost their knife," right? And so sometimes I had a diver contact us. He said he was working down on oil rigs, and he loved a Ravencrest knife. And he's like, it just slipped out of my hands, and it's at the bottom of the ocean. Send him a knife, right? Send him a knife. Send him a free knife. Right? Why is that? Because he's going to tell how many people about Ravencrest Tactical. I've sown a seed, and guess what? I can never outgive. I've given, and I know it's going to come back, pressed back, overflowing more than I can contain in my life. And so I like to give knives. You think about what the big companies do, and I've adopted this for Ravencrest Tactical, me and my partner have, is they'll give their product to people that are kind of influencers in the world. So like Nike and Adidas, right? The reason why I wear nothing but Adidas is because Adidas was, when my son was on UNL, they were giving him all free shoes just for being on the call, right? And I was going to pick a shoe. I was like, I just want to pick a shoe and just be loyal, because I'm that guy. I was like, I just want to wear a shoe and be known for the Adidas guy, right? And so I went, I'm going to do Adidas. I'm going to do Adidas, right? And all they did is they gave it to my son, and so I own nothing but Adidas. Nike will go, "Hey, let's do Michael Jordan." People see Michael Jordan wearing a shoe. They go, "Okay, I want to wear Nike." It's just what they do. They give. So on a smaller level, for me and my business, what do? Well, we give our knives to police officers all the time. If I'm in the store and a police officer comes in, most of the time I'm like, "Give him a free knife," right? "What, a free knife? Are you kidding me?" Yeah, because what happens is, you look at it, you have a police officer brother-in-law or a friend or whatever, and he pulls out his Ravencrest. If he's using it, that's got to be a good knife. We are the knife most used by the police force, right? That's who we sow into. We give a big discount to police officers. I give them all the time for free to police officers. It has even helped me with tickets. No, praise the Lord, I can't even say that on the video. No, it has. I was pulled over by a guy, and I had given him a free knife, and he goes, "Wait, you just gave me a knife last week." I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Get out of here." we were looking late last year. We looked at we're just looking at where we're selling in the United States on the web and how it's going. And it was interesting. Like Idaho was the only state we had 0 sales, and nobody in Idaho bought our knives. And I don't think we've ever done a gun show or a trade show or anything out there. And maybe Idahoians or whatever they're called. I don't know. So we decided, we go, you know what? So I got online and I looked up a fire department out there, and then I contacted them, and the police, the fire chief contacted me back. I said, hey, we want to give your entire fire department, every person, a free Raven Crest knife. And he's like, well, what's the catch? And I want to be honest with him. I said, you know how like Nike gives Michael Jordan and sports people? I said, you're like my Michael Jordan. I said, be honest with you, I want to give you all a knife, and I'm hoping people see your knives, and maybe you post it on social media. I said, this is a win-win. I'm just trying to create win-win. He's like, okay, listen, I'm in. So I think we did like 30 knives, and then we engraved all the knives, put their name and their number on, everything, sent it all out. And then, so this is late last year. Well, last month, we did $4,000 in web sales in Idaho. Now, that's pretty cool, right? We went from 0 to hero. I'll use it from a movie, right? We went, right? And all we had to do was sow into 30 fire people in Idaho who walk around and go, check out my Raven Crest tactical knife. This is pretty cool. The company did this, right? And so looking for ways to sow and to give into people, in a sense, sponsor people. And so we'll do the same thing. I said for pickleball, we'll be giving our rackets out, getting in people's hands, because I got to get it in people's hands so they can talk about it. All right. Every customer, this is one of those things that we put up in our room because I never want to forget about it. Every customer is a treasure gift from God. Give till it hurts. Every customer. You should never get to a point where there is any one customer who is not treated like a gift. And there's annoying customers, and there's hateful, and there's mean customers, right? They're out there. But I have to make sure that you chose to use my product. You are so valuable to me, and I have to do everything that I can to possibly empower you somehow, even how annoying you are, to talk good about my products. Because they're gonna talk about it. And I want to make sure, because how many people know that the annoying, hateful ones are the loudest? Am I right? Am I right? They're the loudest. And I'd rather them be loud for me because I had to sow it and give them a bunch than have them be loud against me, because they'll be everywhere. They're hateful trolls. I'm sorry, I had to say that. They're just trolls, right? And they're so mean, right? But you think about that, right? Companies spend millions of dollars to get rid of bad reviews, right? Because a negative review, right? You get a few of those. How many people, like I go to look for a restaurant. If you ain't over 4 stars, I won't even consider you. I won't even consider you. And you look at restaurants and you go, if you just cared about these right here, right? We're big on our social media. Like as soon as something comes up and a customer's on it, right? I have a person, that's what they do. They're just watching social media all day. Something comes up, we make them happy. Wow, whatever you got to do. I don't care what you have to do. My gosh, whatever you have to do, whatever we have to spend, to get them back on our side is what we have to do. Their voice is loud, and I want their loud voice to be pro what I'm doing. So you have to have every customer, annoying, hateful, great, you'll have all of them in there, are important. Write down customer experience. The experience that a customer has is so important to your business. Their experience. How did they experience your product, but your service, like as you grow and you begin to have customer support, you have what is their experience has to be in the forefront of your company forever. It has to be one of the most important things that you do. How they experience you. I was talking in the office back there with my son and some others I think that Apple, I'm an Apple guy now, does the greatest job I know of creating a great experience. They just do. Like of everything that I get, right, from the moment, right, and I'm going to talk about, I may even get teary-eyed because I get so excited about this, right, when you get your new iPhone and you get that box, and even the experience of opening that box, you're like, oh, Like it just comes off perfectly. You're like, and it goes, and it makes like a little noise. And you're like, oh my God, I'm getting worked up. That's so hot. Oh my gosh, I shouldn't feel this way. And so, right, and the phone is just in there, and you're like, he fits perfectly. So you pull it off, and it doesn't have a 90-page. It's just all simple and put together. And then he goes, hey, I see there's an iPhone close. Would you like to transfer? You go, I don't mind if I do, right? I would love to do that. And you just hit it, and then it goes, yep, and then it goes, you're done. Enjoy your iPhone. And then you go, for the love that's all the good and holy, everything that I do with Apple, right? This is the experience that I get with Apple, right? Now, I was a PC guy since 1991 till 7 years ago, right? I just did PCs. And my PC experience was a living hell. I think that's all they use in hell. It's just PCs. It's just all PCs down there. This is this is just based on my experience, right? Because some of you remember, I remember, right, every year you had to get a new laptop because it became outdated, it stopped working, right? Everything was slow. And my laptop, like it was all, and my PC, when you turned it on, you're always like, is it going to work? Come on, baby, come on, this time. Do it work this time. And it's like, oh, you got to restart. Like half the time, you got to do a restart. You got to reboot. And then when you bought a PC, like it was a good part of a day to get it work. You're like, okay, I got to put all my programs back on there. I got to transfer all my stuff over there, right? And then you get it going. There's like, hey, I don't recognize your printer. You're like, okay, I got to get a driver. I got to get the driver. It's like, I still don't get it, right? And then you're like, oh, the wireless internet doesn't work. And so it's just a battle. But very true. 7 years ago, I'm at the office with my partner, and my laptop doesn't work. Surprise, surprise. And I'm just battling it. And he goes, you know why I switched to Mac? I said, why? He goes, it always works. I go, what? He goes, yeah, I open it up and it always works. Now, Apple empowered him. And you know what I did? I left the office, I drove exactly right to Apple, and I bought me a Mac. And you know what my Mac has done for 7 years? Every time. It's never missed. It always works. I open it up, and it works. It doesn't go, hey, the printer doesn't work anymore. Right? He goes, hey, you got to restart. It never says that. It always just works. And that same Mac I had for 7 years. And then Baylor needed a computer. I'm like, you know what? It still works. I'm like, let me give you my Mac, and Daddy will get a new one. So 3 weeks ago, I got a new Mac. And I got it up. Oh, I opened the phone. Like, whew, hot. All right. And I opened it up, got it out. And it goes, hey, transfer. And I transferred all the stuff. And then this is what a Mac does. It works. Right? It just works. They have perfected the experience of the customer. And this is how your company has to be. Your experience from start to end has to be an incredible experience with you. And be very careful, because I believe you're prying this, your business is going to grow. Never lose sight of the customer's experience. Because as you grow, you'll begin to have employees. And you have to understand, employees, customers are a nuisance to them. They just are. Right? Taking care of the right? And so they will, if you're not on top of it, and have a pulse as you grow on every negative complaint from Ravencrest Tactical goes to my email also. I see every single one. Why is that? Because I go, hey, what are we doing here? What's going on? They're like, oh yeah, we stopped doing that. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you owned the company. Hey, here's an idea. What if we just keep doing what I asked to do instead of doing what you want to do? Right? That'd be a cool idea. And so, and I say it nicer than that, of course. But I'm just telling you, this is what employees do. Customers are a nuisance, so I have to keep it in front of them. You know what? You know who keeps it so we get to have you as an employee? Our customers. Like, without them, we have nothing. Like, nobody gets paid, right? And so they're valuable, they're important. We, Ravencrest Tactical, we do everything that we can always to have a happy customer. We will spend whatever it takes to get happy customers. So I have to keep it in front of them every single week. This is what we do. I have a pulse on it. Because the dangerous thing is that you'll grow, and what got you to grow, we forget, right? So my pool company, right, when I first hired it, was Epic. The owner, I text him, he's on it, right? Anything wrong, he's doing my pool. We had a great 5 years, just great. And his pool, not because of me, but I did send him quite a few people. His company grew, and I believe because of his epic customer service, right? But then a year and a half ago, like I'm texting, and my answer, like it's just weird. I'm like, this is weird. Hey, my pool's not clean. Like, hey, they did a halfway job. Hey, the guy would come, right? Now I'm talking about his company, but I'm not going to tell you who it is. He would come and he would empty the baskets out of the stuff, and he would just put it right there on the pool deck. And then what does that do? It just blows right back into the pool. And then he would only sweep half the pool. And what they say is, because I have a massive tree, massive, like a Disneyland tree, and it just dumps stuff in the pool. And he's like, so the guy's like, hey, we cleaned it long enough, and that's all we could do. And I'm like, well, you can't. So I called. I'm like, hey, it's not him anymore. He gave that number to an employee who doesn't care at all about anything whatsoever. And so as I was writing this out today, I was sitting in the backyard, and I was kind of just going over my notes, and I looked at my pool, and I went, I'm going to take a video. Look at my pool today. Yeah, good for me. That's my pool. Now, I haven't had time to change, because it's like, it's a pretty big deal for me, at least, to find a new pool guy, pool company, everything. This is what I have, right? He lost sight, right? And here's the thing that happens as you grow, right? You don't see this happen all of a sudden. It's like, right? It's just gradual. You lose one customer, right? You keep losing customers, talking about, and you're always going to lose customers anyway because they move or something else. But you have to make sure that you're gaining customers from your current customers who's talking good about empowered you. So then all of a sudden you wake up one day and you're like, oh my God, I got to lay up a bunch of people. This is what's going on. It must be the economy. No, it wasn't the economy. It's that you lost sight of what's important in your company. Every customer that you have is valuable. They are priceless. Don't give up on one. Don't let one go. Make sure that you always give every customer, right, the love. And all this guy has to do is simply have his pulse on this. Just have your pulse on it and go, hey, we take care of Scotty. Scotty, he's a customer. He's valuable. He's important. Sorry, I was ragging on my pool guy. Anyway, because he annoys me. So here's the thing. Well, I'll stop with this because I got about 2 more minutes with this. So the customer's experience from start to finish, if it's average, they'll never talk about it. You haven't empowered them. If it's below average or bad, they will be the loudest, right? We know that. Get on Yelp, right? That's what's so hard about restaurants is, right, a bad experience will definitely make it on there, but a pretty good experience usually doesn't make it on Yelp, right? It just doesn't do it, right? And so below average experience is gonna reap you the biggest negative reward far beyond anything. But a good experience, you might get some people talk about it, but a great experience, you almost always get people talking about it. Right? And your company has to be built on excellence from start to finish, that we treat every single customer as a gift from God, and I will do whatever it takes to make sure that when we're all finished, and I'll get on this more next week, and I tell my employees this all the time, I don't want a satisfied customer. I hate it. Satisfied, really? That's average, right? I'm satisfied. Satisfied people don't talk about your product. I want happy people. When you leave Ravencrest Tactical, you are not satisfied. You are very happy with your total experience with us, right? And that's got to be your heart and your attitude. Not satisfied, that's a low bar, right? That's the world's bar. We're better than that. We have people, everyone that leaves my company, anything that I do, has to be highly, highly, highly excited and happy with their experience. Amen. All right, so we'll continue this on next week. Like I said, it's the most important part and that we do in building our business. It's the engine of the business. But I wanted to give some questions out there that you all might have. And so they have a microphone. Raise your hand. I cannot see you because of the lights, but I'll find you somehow. Put your hand up if you got a question.
Right here, Pastor.
Okay.
Thank you. That was very enjoyable.
Thank you.
I've bought online ads before, and one of the problems I experienced with is it quickly became like a part-time job, understanding the nuances and some of the pitfalls of ads, and a lot of the automated features that like Google ads and Facebook ads use can kind of be like money sucks and don't really give a great return. So I would like to hear how you balanced that with your online ads.
And I do everything that I do. I have to get a return on it. And I know sometimes you plant a seed, it takes a little bit more time. And I think that you can just throw a bunch of money at ads, right? but use common sense on what key words and really try to laser it on a place. So knife, I would never do knife because a gajillion companies are doing knife as a keyword, right? And so I have to find a keyword that I'm going to be able to focus on and spend money on that. And so we really try to laser on 2 or 3 phrases, right? Church and Mesa. Everybody's paying for church and Mesa, right? So for Google, we want to say faith, family, church, right? Spirit-filled. So we're going to try and laser. So the more you can laser your ads, even though you may not reach this many, I don't care if I reach this many people. I just want to get the people that have the most likely that's going to be able to give me a harvest in what I do. And so, and don't throw, tons of money at it based on the size of your business. And I said, we do spend, I think it's $1,500 a month on Google AdWords now, but that's not where we started at. But we have found the perfect words that we feel like work and give us the biggest return for it. And to us, it may generate, I don't know what it generates off the top of my head, but it doesn't have. It's obviously $1,500 isn't going to generate me 1,500 sales in it. But even if it generates me 20 sales, those 20 sales that I got in marketing is going to put my knife and the experience in 20 people's hands who are going to talk about. So it's advertised money because it's going to. Marketing to me is once you got the product, you're going to talk about the product. So I just got to get my product in your hands using the Google AdWords. But sit down with some people. I like to get around people that are smarter than me, which is there's a lot of people, and bounce words off and ideas, and you go, oh wow, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's perfect, and you can feel it. I feel it in my spirit. My spirit goes, yeah, that was it. That's what we wanted. And I go, all right, let's run with that. All right, good. Next question.
If you were to give us 3 to 5 inspirational and influence books, what would you give us?
I would give you Think Like a Billionaire, Think Like a Businessaire, Millionaire Habits in 21 Days. That's what I would give you. You know what? For inspiration, you could do anything by Tony Robbins. I think that for inspiration, that's his niche. Now, is he going to give you the secrets? And I'm not saying I'm better. I'm just saying apples and oranges. I'm going to give you the ABCs of starting a business. But if you want to be inspired and change your thought process, I don't know if there's anybody as good as Anthony Robbins as far as helping you really change your mindset, which is a key component. Once again, there are many components to a car. Right? You can't just say, hey, I just need an engine. You're like, well, you're going to need steering wheel. You're going to need a lot of things. And I think to be successful in the business world, I think that you also need to have a change in our thinking. We have to be inspired. We have to have wealthy people have a different mindset. They just do. And the closer I can get to that mindset, the more likely I am to take chances, step out and risk. And risks are, as I talked about last week, is no more than a learning experience. Jason said this today on our wake-up show, and I really liked it a lot. He said, people do things so much trying to get to a destination. He said, but it's not about the destination. It's about the growth that happens when you step out in it. And I was like, oh, that's really good. Because we start a business, and we're like, I want to make lots of money. But I think that you have to go, I want to start a business because there's going to be a growth that happens in me, whether it fails or whether it succeeds. There's a growth that happens in me that gets me ready for something bigger. So David had, on the way of becoming a king, he had a lot of things that he did that really didn't make him a king, but it was accumulation of all those things, whether it was failure or success, that grew him in such a way that when he became a king, he could handle the responsibility of it. Same thing for Joseph. You go in your mind, I'm sure Joseph, you went, really, I'm going to be a slave? God, you said I'm going to be ruling stuff, and I'm a slave now, and then I go from a slave into prison? But then you think about Joseph, his experience of being a slave, he ended up running an entire household of a wealthy person. So he was able to understand all the different classes, so he was able to grow, and then he gets thrown into prison. Maybe God had it set up. I don't know. I mean, it seems to make sense because now I have to understand how government works. And so once he grew in those two experiences that made no sense to him, then he's put second in charge of Egypt. And because of what he learned in those experiences that we thought were a setback, were no more than a God setup to get him ready to run all of Egypt. The same thing for me. What did I grow from 20-some businesses? Right? It was an experience of me growing so that I could handle Ravencrest Tactical, so I could handle Pickleball, so I could handle all the other things that I do. And I got to talking so long, I don't even remember the question, but I think that I answered it. It's the pastor in me. I'm just going to go. That's why I love this. This is my favorite part of the whole thing. All right, another question. Do we have one?
Right over here.
Yeah.
In the corner.
Which corner?
Right over here.
Marco!
Polo.
Marco!
Right ahead.
Yeah, go.
My question is some people choose products based on, their particular interests or what's trending. What would you recommend for those who are looking for a product to market themselves with?
So basically looking for a product. And I think I talked to some people last week about this. So there's different strategies on this. So you can pick up a product that's going to have a short shelf life, but it's something that you can make some money on quickly. So the great example was, what was those little fidget spinners? Do you guys remember those? Like, it was like, everybody's like, woo, all the kids are like, woo, they got the fidget. And then one day, like, nobody has one, right? Right. And so if you can get on that early enough, like, you can make some money, but it's not something that you can build a business for, 10, 15 years on. It's going to come and go. I tend to be, and you can do that. There's people that they just go from product to product, and they just, that's what they do. And that, once again, there's billions of ways of making money. I tend to be the guy that I try to look and find out kind of what's going to be something, have longevity to it. Something that I can just build a specific product, and I can stick with that product, and I get that product should carry, OTF knife should carry me through my lifetime, unless I choose to sell the company, but it's a product that, people always need a knife, right? And so as we looked at, when we started our pickleball company, pickleball is the fastest growing sport in America. This is a fact. It's the fastest growing. This is not something that's going to go away in a year or two. It's just going to continue to get bigger and bigger. And we feel like, though there are a lot of pickleball rackets, that we were getting in early enough that we should be able to get a market share. And that's a big thing to think about also. I don't, even in the knife world, there's so much, and I always talk great about every knife company, and I think this is important. I'm adding, this is a bonus, has nothing to do with any question. Let's not be people that I have to put another business down to lift my business up. I don't think that's God. I don't think so. I don't think that I have to put down you to make myself better. I think I just be great at what I am. And there's enough of the market for everybody. The same thing for building a church. Our philosophy is, and there are churches out there that will put down other churches, right? And other pastors. My God, if somebody's preaching Jesus Christ on the weekend and getting people saved, good for you. I'm excited. And somebody says, hey, we're going to leave your church, go to that church. I'm like, that's an amazing church. God has a place for everybody. I don't have to put a church down. There's enough people in Mesa for everybody to have a mega church. Can I get an amen anywhere? You know what I'm saying? And the same for a business. There's enough people in this world for everybody to have, right, all the different knife companies to be able to have a business. Now, we have one company. It gets my partner all riled up, right? Because they just copy everything that we do, right? But you want to go, I want to put that out there. That's not who I am. That's not how I do business. I will always talk good about that company. I always talk good about that owner. Copy all my stuff. I don't care. It's actually an honor that you would think that I'm so smart that you want to copy my business, right? But it's all right. But they do things sneaky, try to steal my business. It's all right. It doesn't matter because God doesn't honor that, right? God honors me doing biblical principles and simply being great at what I do, and God will honor that. You want to try and steal stuff? Get your hands on it. Once again, I talked so long. What was the question? Did I get there? Oh, product. So yeah, so we pick a product that has, for me personally, we looked at it. It's also something that I love. I'm into right now, and I like to do that also. I like to pick something that I'm enjoying and build a company around it. Anyway, and so we did bath bombs. Remember that's in the book, and that was one I didn't think through. I've made so many mistakes on that one, and that doesn't have much of a longevity. And I also did the subscription thing, and those were two things that, once again, I think that I went into the subscription business thinking it's longevity and not really looking at it with common sense and realizing it was just no more than a phase. Remember, you couldn't go anywhere without somebody, oh, I got a subscription to this and that and shoes, and they were everywhere. And anyway, that's not the type of business that I want to do. I want to do one that has longevity. So I would look at that. What do I think? Get some people, smart people around you. Look around your world. It's great when you go, yeah, I like that. I'd like to have that, right? That'd be cool. And get on Alibaba if you're just looking for a product. I mean, my gosh. You just get on there, you can find a gajillion ways. And there's so many ways. There's a guy, maybe somebody will take this. He simply, sunglasses cost a gajillion, for good ones, right? They're $100, $150. How many people know that, and I know this, and you know this, that there's no difference between a $10 pair of sunglasses and a $150 pair of sunglasses. There just isn't. They're made in the same factory doing the same thing. So he simply started a sunglass company in California, and he would go out on the beach, advertise, get it in people's hands, and he was selling the sunglasses for $30, $40, getting in people's hands. And he made, I think he was on Fortune or one of those magazines. He made something big by simply saying, hey, let me sell a great product, but let me sell it, as I said last week, more at a more reasonable price and get in people's hands. And so that's it. Find a product on there, be great at it, market it, advertise it, get in people's hands, and let the experience sell it itself. One more question.
We have 2 more questions, actually. And here's
Oh, we
one
do?
here.
Okay. We have 1 more minute. Okay, go.
Well,
No more. I'll stick on topic this time. Go.
You kind of answered the question that I had, and it was about product. Over here.
You don't know, like it's literally the sun is in my eyes.
So I see AliExpress and I see Alibaba, but my question was going to be, where do you find your product? Do you
talk
go
about my
to
knife or
market
my pickleball?
shows? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
The knife was no more than just God navigating somehow through my partner, and we got our own company. They were ready to start up. And so, there are some other OTF companies, and their products all come out to like the same place. We have our own one that God just orchestrated out of China for us and kind of navigated through the lady that's been my shipper since the toy company. Just have an incredible relationship with her, finding products. And she did also my bag squire. So I said, hey, we want to do these bags. Can you reach out? Because she's from China, she speaks, so she can navigate and find, and so she was able to find that for us. She also did our bath bombs, so she did both of those things for me, found those things.
And did you meet her at trade show or through the website?
I don't even know. I honestly couldn't even tell you. It was so long ago that I met her. It was through when I did my toy company. Somehow we just reached out, found a place that could ship it through the people that were doing my toys. I think they were the ones that gave me Jenny's information, and then she's just been epic. I love Jenny, right? Jenny is a big company, but she's so amazing. I love it. And I'm off topic, and I don't care because I love Jenny. Because I'll email her and I go, here's my shipment. Where's my shipment? I'll hit send, and all of a sudden my phone's ringing. She's like, hello, Scott. This is Jenny, and I'm like, Jenny, I emailed you like 30 seconds ago. Yes, you got your shipment. Like she really takes care of me greatly. The pickleball rackets, my son actually found them on Alibaba, and so you make sure they got good reviews, make sure they're not ripping off, and be smart with your money that you're doing. You don't just send. And I talk about that more in the book. So we found our pickleball rackets, and it looks like they're also going to do our pickleballs from the same company. They're sending us samples. I'll have them. I may have them next week to be able to show you all, just to see the product that it came out. Okay, one more question.
Last question over here in the middle.
Hi, Pastor Scott.
Am I getting warmer? There. Okay, good.
So how can a person like me who doesn't have ties to a factory find one?
I don't have ties. But Alibaba? Does that make sense? Alibaba ties you to the factory. It's just incredible. Like I said, we're in a generation that has made it so simple to start a company. You say, hey, I want widgets. You go to Alibaba, type in widgets, and you'll get 100 different factories that you can go through, look at the reviews and look at stuff, and then you begin communication with them, and they'll talk to you, send me a sample. Like our racket samples, I think we had to send them, and I pay with a credit card, so it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? It's safe. I think we had to send them $80 a racket or something for a sample. They're going to ship it over to us. So once again, we live in the greatest time to do this ever. I know you enjoyed today's session on Think Like a Business Heir. And don't forget to pick up the book and sow the book into some people's lives out there. I really encourage you, if you know a single mom out there, my heart is to touch the single moms out there. They're doing a lot. And if there's a way that you can sow into a single moms, I'm going around all over the country and I'm sowing into single moms out there also. So I encourage you to do the same thing. Don't forget to go on Amazon, get the book, and next week is going to be amazing and awesome.